everybody, it's the Whispering Voice. I hope you're all okay and well and happy. It's a beautiful day here today in North Wales. The sun is shining. It is cold though, it's not far off freezing, but very nice all the same. I've been out this morning with a friend of mine who wanted to do some filming on this area, so he asked me if I'd go along with him. So I went with him and helped him film different shots and different information which he needed. So I enjoyed that, and it came to me the other day that I was speaking to my grandmother, who's 92 now. She's starting to get dementia, but she gets good days and bad days. When I visited the other day, it was a good day, and a memory from yesterday is very bad, but she can remember something which happened 60 years ago, just like that. And she was telling me of a time during the Second World War. There used to be a lady in the street where they lived, used to sell meat, like a little butcher shop. Except them days there was no fridged counters. The meat was just on a table. And she said she was stood one day behind this well-to-do lady, obviously had money and very well dressed, very well spoken. And she noticed this lady ordering a pound of very lean mince. She said it was beautifully red and lean, which wasn't seen that often during the war. So she was thinking to herself, well, when this lady's been served, that's what I'll ask for. So the lady did the order, and she didn't pay, by the way, because them days people who had money or who had influence or were thought highly of in the community were allowed to run up an account and pay every month. And of course, if you didn't have money or you went anybody, shall we say, you had to pay there and then. So after this lady had been served, it was my grandmother's turn. So she asked the lady, I'll have a pound of that beautiful red lean mince, please. So the lady behind the counter then went to a different tray of mince, which wasn't as good. So my grandmother stepped in and said, excuse me, I want a pound of the red mince there, please, that you give the other lady. To which the lady behind the counter said, well, it's just the same. So my grandmother then said, no, it's not. I want a pound of the red mince. Anyway, this went on for a bit, and it turned out the lady wouldn't serve her this red mince because she was keeping it for people like the lady that she served before. So my grandmother said, right, you've got one more chance. Are you going to give me a pound of that beautiful lean mince? No. So my grandmother lifted the tray and threw it on the floor. And she leaned over the table and said to the lady, if I can't have it, then nobody will have it. My money is as good as anybody's. In fact, I'm paying you now for my meat. The lady that's just been in, you have to wait 3 weeks to 4 weeks, whatever it was. So she said, my money is as good as anybody's. was a lot of that them days. People, the money situation was quite bad, but obviously those with money were looked highly upon, and yeah, so that was one story which she told me, and another one which I can't believe, because she comes out with things and you think, well, you've never said this before. My uncle, excuse me, my grandmother's uncle, he was in the First World War, and many years later, obviously been to the war, survived it luckily, and they all lived in the same house, about 6 or 7 of them, and I've been to see the house they all lived in, and how they did it I'll never know, because it was only basically one room upstairs and one room downstairs, which I don't think it'd be allowed today. But anyway, he was sent a telegram from the king then, and she did say the king's name and I've forgotten, I'm sorry. But anyway, he was sent a telegram stating that the king was coming to award him and a few other men from around the area their medals, and he was going to hand them personally, which was a big thing then. Coming from London, I think, to Wales then took a day or two, and you can do it today in 4 hours, 5 hours. But he wasn't going to go, so his mother and a few other family said, you must go, the king is coming to give you your medal. But he was a very quiet man, didn't like any fuss, and anyway they persuaded him to go. So he went onto the town square, where about 20 men lined up. The royal procession came, horse and cart then. The king got out and personally pinned the medals onto their chests. And she said, if you go into the bank, which is still there now, you'll see a photograph of the king handing the medals over to these 20 men. But as luck had it, as the photographer pressed the button, he was actually handing it to my grandmother's uncle. So I couldn't believe it, because I've looked at this picture in the bank many, many times, and not realizing who he was. So next week I'm going to see the bank manager and ask if I could have a copy of it. So we'll see. I don't mind paying for it, but it's a history for my family, but just shows you how much knowledge there is in a family and history. And I suppose we don't know, a third of it really. And she said, well, I've never said anything before because I didn't think you'd be interested. Well, how wrong was she? But I like to speak and find out things now, because when my grandmother goes too old, or in many, many years, when she's passed away, you always think, I wished I spoke about this, and I wish I'd asked about that. But yeah, anyway, I thought I'd just share those couple of stories with you, and thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.